Hey guys, how's it going? Here are your daily fantasy baseball matchups for August 21st, 2020. Let's get into it. First game up, Arizona Diamondbacks at San Francisco Giants. The lefty Robbie Ray going against the righty Logan Webb. This Giants lineup has hit lefties well. Look to acquire Evan Longoria and Wilmer Flores today for the Giants. And for the Diamondbacks against Logan Webb, not a lot of data to talk about, but check out hitters like David Peralta and Cole Calhoun. Next game up, Los Angeles Angels at Oakland Athletics. The lefty Andrew Heaney versus the righty Mike Fiers. For this Oakland lineup, home runs for Ramon Laureano, Mark Canha, and Matt Chapman versus Andrew Heaney. Those guys you're going to have to pay some prices for, so Mark Canha is probably your cheapest option. Laureano and Chapman going for $1,000 more bucks. For this Angels lineup, 5 home runs for Mike Trout versus Mike Fiers, 1 for Rendon, 1 for Goodwin, and 3 for Pujols. So I would target Goodwin and Pujols. Mike Trout and Rendon are hard to suggest because they cost so much money. Next game up, Colorado Rockies at Los Angeles Dodgers. John Gray, the righty, versus the righty ace Walker Buehler. Buehler versus Rockies lineup has given up 1 home run to Fuentes, 2 to Blackmon, 2 to Story, 2 to Arenado, and 1 to McMahon. But a guy I like today is Raimel Tapia, who's been red hot and should be playing every day for this Colorado Rockies lineup for the foreseeable future. John Gray versus Dodgers lineup, 2 home runs to Max Muncy, 1 to Corey Seager, and 2 to Jock Peterson. You're going to have to pay a lot for Muncy and Seager today, but Peterson's going for a grand less. Definitely take a look at Jock Peterson with that pop. Next game up, Texas Rangers at Seattle Mariners. The lefty Kobe Allard versus the lefty Nick Margevicius. Not a lot of data. These are 2 younger pitchers. Only 3 at-bats to talk about for this Mariners lineup. I would take a look at guys like Austin Nola, Dylan Moore, and of course Kyle Lewis. Next game up, Houston Astros at San Diego Padres. Lance McCullers, the righty, versus the righty Garrett Richards. No home runs for McCullers versus these Padres hitters. Garrett Richards versus these Astros batters also has given up 0 home runs. And that's pretty surprising, seeing he has 31 at-bats versus Reddick and 38 versus Altuve. And Altuve could not homer in those 38 at-bats. So there's not an obvious play in this Houston Astros and San Diego Padres game. Maybe you want to target Lance McCullers and Garrett Richards as your pitchers. Next game up, Cincinnati Reds at St. Louis Cardinals. Anthony DeSclafani versus Dakota Hudson. Matt Carpenter has owned DeSclafani. Definitely get Carpenter today. It's insane his price is that low. He owns 4 home runs and a 1600 OPS versus DeSclafani in his career. Goldschmidt also has a homer and has great numbers versus DeSclafani. And Tyler O'Neill, Dexter Fowler, and Yadier Molina each round out the Cardinals that have a home run versus DeSclafani. So check those guys out: Yadier Molina, Dexter Fowler, Tyler O'Neill, Paul Goldschmidt, and Matt Carpenter. This pitcher going against the Reds, Dakota Hudson, has given up 2 homers to Mike Moustakas and 2 to Eugene Suarez, but besides that, he's kept everyone quiet. Keep an eye on lefty Jesse Winker, who's still going for a decent price. Next game on the schedule, Minnesota Twins at Kansas City Royals. Jake Odorizzi, the righty, going against the lefty Danny Duffy. Odorizzi has given up 2 homers to Soler, 1 to Franco, 3 to Merrifield, 1 to Perez, and 1 to Gordon. Maybe take a look at Salvador Perez, Miguel Franco, and Jorge Soler. Franco especially for a cheaper option. I don't particularly like Odorizzi today. The Royals haven't been bad against righties. According to Fangraphs' splits, they've been 11% worse against righties than league average. But these Minnesota Twins have not been too hot against lefties. Danny Duffy, the lefty, going for a cheap price against this Twins lineup, has given up 2 homers to Jake Cave, 5 to Nelson Cruz, 1 to Jorge Polanco, and 2 to Miguel Sano. Definitely take a look at Jake Cave for that cheap price. Nelson Cruz is going to be the play of the day. Everyone's going to have Nelson Cruz. Not saying you shouldn't get him, but you got to think about how much you're really separating yourself if he's going to be 80% owned. And if he doesn't hit a home run, you're in the same boat as everyone else. I would avoid Sano and I would avoid Jorge Polanco on this Twins team. But I like Cave the most, probably. I say Cave and Polanco the most just because they're cheaper, but even Polanco's price isn't that cheap. Cave, you're really getting value with Cave. And I like Danny Duffy a lot versus Twins lineup. If we look at about how the Twins have fared against lefties so far this year, 15% worse than league average Minnesota's been against left-handed pitchers, going against lefty Danny Duffy today. Interesting guy to pick up, Danny Duffy. Next game up, Chicago White Sox at Chicago Cubs. Pretty cool, Chicago. Dallas Keuchel versus John Lester, lefty-lefty. Home run for Contreras, Bryant, and Anthony Rizzo versus Dallas Keuchel. And for John Lester versus this White Sox team, home run given up to James McCann, Jose Abreu, and 3 to Edwin Encarnacion and 1 to Tim Anderson. Definitely target Edwin Encarnacion, James McCann, and Jose Abreu. And definitely target Contreras and Bryant today. Besides that, I don't know if you want to touch these pitchers. These are some lineups that have been kind of hot. White Sox got some guys that could hit now. I don't really know if you want to take the risk on the soft toss or Dallas Keuchel and the soft toss or John Lester now, with how old they've gotten and how much their stuff probably isn't what it used to be. Boston Red Sox at Baltimore Orioles. Colton Brewer versus John Means. The righty Brewer versus the lefty John Means. Brewer has yet to give up a home run versus anyone in this lineup. He's also rarely pitched. John Means has given up 2 home runs to JD Martinez and 1 to Xander Bogaerts. You could take a look at JD Martinez, but his price has increased substantially since where it was at the beginning of the season. So not any obvious plays in this game today. Mitch Moreland, maybe take a look at him, but not a lot of data to back that up. Not a lot of easy plays today. Not a lot of data. These are like the 4 or 5 pitchers pitching today. Detroit Tigers at Cleveland Indians. Michael Fulmer versus Adam Plutko. Fremno Reyes with a homer, Lindor with 3, Ramirez with 2 versus Michael Fulmer. Bonifacio with 1, Candelario with 1, Christian Stewart with 1, and Miguel Cabrera with 1 homer versus Adam Plutko. But I like Fulmer today, the righty, going against this Indians lineup, who thus far has been 19% worse than league average versus right-handers. Ooh. So definitely take a look at Michael Fulmer going against this Indians lineup today. Fulmer is going for less than Danny Duffy. If you want to put Fulmer and Duffy as your pitchers today, go ahead and do that and stack Trout, Rendon, stack those elite hitters in your lineup and get Fulmer and Duffy in there, and you'll spend like $13,000 on your pitching. Next game up, Philadelphia Phillies at Atlanta Braves. Aaron Nola versus Max Fried. 2 home runs for Austin Riley, 1 for d'Arnaud, 1 for Camargo, 1 for Duvall, 2 for Ozuna, 1 for Freeman, and 1 for Inciarte versus Aaron Nola. I like Ozuna, I like Duvall. I like Duvall and Camargo and d'Arnaud and Austin Riley the most. Duvall, Camargo, d'Arnaud, and Austin Riley the most. They're the cheapest options that have homered. Max Fried versus this Phillies lineup. I don't like picking up Fried today. The Phillies have been really good against lefties, 140, 40% better than league average versus lefties. If you notice, the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox, both good against lefties, so you don't want to pick any of those lefties up in that White Sox-Cubs game, just like you don't want to pick up the lefty going against Philly today, because 40% better than league average. White Sox, 55% better. If you picked up Lester has a really high chance of getting shelled today. Avoid John Lester today versus White Sox lineup, and avoid Max Fried going against his Phillies lineup. Hitters I like for the Phillies. If Kingery's getting the start, I like Kingery. Target Alex Bohm, the rookie. JT Realmuto and Bryce Harper if you're going for the cheaper pitcher options. Besides that, no one has homered yet against Max Fried for this Phillies lineup. Next game on the menu, Milwaukee Brewers at Pittsburgh Pirates. The righty Adrian Hauser versus the righty Chad Kuhl. 1 homer for Colin Moran and Kevin Newman each versus Adrian Hauser. Target them today. Even though the Pirates have been abysmal versus right-handers, I don't suggest Adrian Hauser today, but by all means consider him. I just don't consider him the level of pitcher that other guys are. No home runs for Chad Kuhl given up against this Brewers lineup. High OPS for Avisel Garcia, and he's hot. Only one plate appearance. Orlando Arcia, 890 OPS. Manny Pena, 844 OPS. Yelich, all the way down here at 311 and 10 at-bats versus Chad Kuhl. Probably like Kuhl better than Hauser today with how dry that Brewers lineup has been. Next game up, Toronto Blue Jays at Tampa Bay Rays. Surprise Matt Shoemaker's going for so much money. How have the Rays been against righties? The Rays have been 14% better than average against righties. So I'm really surprised Shoemaker's going for so much. No, one home run for Yoshi Tsukaku against Matt Shoemaker, but no one else. High OPS for Yandy Diaz, who's looking to stay hot. Brandon Lau, too. Wow, Brandon Lau's price has increased dramatically. Ryan Yarbrough going against this Blue Jays roster. One home run for Kevin Biggio and two for Teoscar Hernandez against Yarbrough. Blue Jays have been just about above league average against lefties, so no advantage in picking up Yarbrough today versus Blue Jays lineup. But definitely take a look at Biggio, Grichuk, Drury, and Teoscar. Last game up, Miami Marlins at Washington Nationals. Daniel Castano versus Patrick Corbin. I like Corbin a lot here today. There's a reason Corbin's going for the most money. Yet to give up a home run versus this lineup. But Miami Marlins versus lefty pitchers have been abysmal. So you want to pick up Patrick Corbin today. The Marlins have been 31% worse than league average versus lefties. And look at the Mariners. The Mariners have been, 44% worse than league average versus lefties? This Mariners squad, whenever they're versus a lefty, you gotta keep that in your head, and you gotta see who they're playing. I mean, you can get a great deal off of Kobe Allard today, $7,100 going against his Mariners lineup, who has been 43% worse than league average against lefties. I mean, they're like Billy Hamilton. The Marlins and the Mariners are batting like Billy Hamilton against lefties right now. So if there's lefties going against those teams, pick them up. There's a lefty, Patrick Corbin, going against Miami today, pick him up. Lefty, Kobe Allard, going against Seattle today, pick him up. Hope you guys take that advice. Good luck, and have a good one.